Yeah, baby. My guest is someone who's well respected in the dance community. He represents the Renegade Rockers, HeadHunters Crew, Soul Sector. And this man, he's a brother, he's a husband, he's a father, not only a dancer, a choreographer, but he's also an instructor, an entrepreneur also. He's a videographer, uh, a martial artist. And I'm talking about none other than my brother Naytron. Welcome to the show, bro.
What's up? What's up? Thank you for having me, man.
Man, it is such a pleasure to talk to you. But one thing I do want to show real quick, I want this man to kind of um, give you a better introduction because hold on a second. Let me just see if I can play this for everybody right here.
Oh, shit.
I'm just gonna let Mr. Ken Swift say a little something.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, can we hear the volume? Shoot, I'm not sure if the volume is playing.
I can't hear it.
Dang it. Dang it, I can't hear either. But basically, this
The
is
Prince.
that's right, man. Prince Ken Swift right there. But shoot, I got to try to figure out how to get the volume to play here. Um, but if there's any b-boys out there, you guys know there's no higher praises coming from Mr. Ken Swift than than the man himself talking highly of you. So yeah, tell me that what was that like? Getting together with Ken Swift and just hanging out with him.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was actually after one of his workshops that he had in San Francisco at the Self Space, and I was that was I think that was in 2006 or something like that, and
Right.
I was like, yo, I barely get to see this guy, so I gotta ask him to give me a shout out. and but in asking him that, I was nervous because I wasn't sure like if he knew about me. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like whenever things like that happen, it's just like, shoot, do they know me? Like, and then I just built up the courage throughout the whole workshop that he was teaching, and then I was like, all right, I gotta go up to him, ask him, and then he was like, what's up, Naytron? And then I was like, I got nervous. I was like, oh shoot, this is trippy now. Like, and then yeah, I just like built up the courage, and I was like, yo, is it cool if you give me a shout out on my camera? And then he was like, yeah, man, let's go. And then we just like went to this one spot on the wall, and then he just did his thing. I was like, dude, I was like holding my camera, at that time we had like the big camcorders and stuff. I was just
Yeah.
like shaking when I was filming him. But man, that was like the craziest feeling though. Like just like asking him to give me a shout out, and then realizing like, oh man, like that's legit.
Right.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. Especially some of that, we highly look up to,
Mm,
and to come to realize he's just a real cool guy. So of
yeah.
course that probably made you like, oh my God, man, this guy is hella cool too.
Mhm. Yeah. Like I was like, it's just a trip because you, all of us in the dance scene have looked up to him,
Yeah.
and then just kind of getting that blessing from him was dope.
For sure, man. All right, so let's do this. I want to take us back a little bit more because you got history down here in the Bay Area, San Jose,
Yep.
and we mentioned earlier we're talking about the Renegade Rockers. We talked about Headhunters, Soul
Yep.
Sectors. Take us through, which one was first, and how did you get in, and how did it form, and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. So in '99, we it was me, Deja Vu, Adriatic, Ro, and Mike Amon. We were chilling in my room, and at the time, I think we were already like breaking for like about 6 to 8 months or something together, because
Yeah,
we would like go to school, practice, and then go to my house, practice, and then we were just chilling. We were playing video games. I think we were playing like GoldenEye or something like that. And we were like, yo, like we should start a crew. And then we were just like, yo, let's do it. And then so it's funny is we didn't come out straight as headhunters. We were called Innocent Bystanders Crew. So
who came up with that name, and then who came up with Headhunters?
I forgot. It was, I think it was me and Vu that we saw like a sign that said Innocent Bystanders, and then we were like, yo, that'd be a cool name. And then we ended up just using that name. And then it wasn't up until like we met up with Roland like a few months after that. We were Vu was like, yo, what's up with Roland, man? Like, you still talk to him? And I was like, I see him from like time to time. Like, I haven't spoken to him, but let's hit him up and then see what's up if he wants to like train and stuff. And then we ended up hitting him up, and then he came by. We were practicing, and then we told him like, yo, we want to start a crew, and then like, you want to be down with it? And then he's like, yeah, man. And then I think he was like, we were entering a competition, I think not too long after that in Palo Alto. And he was like, yo, let's enter as Headhunters. And I was like, oh, dang, that's a dope name. And then, so Roland came up, like, he was just like, yo, let's use Headhunters for this battle. And I was like, all right, let's go. And
that's dope. But he wasn't like Innocent Bystander. What the hell is that?
Yeah, no, he didn't say anything about it.
Okay.
He knew that we were, he knew that on the same page on like being a crew and stuff. And then maybe he thought it was a funny name, but we were all kids, you know. So
that's cool.
Go ahead.
But before that though, y'all, how do you guys know each other? Was it through the dancing, or is it through high school? You know, how'd y'all know everybody together?
So I met Roland and Eric when I was in like, I think I was in like 5th grade or something, 5th or 6th grade. And I remember going to a school dance, and Eric Courage, him and Roland were there, and they were like, yo, there's this kid, man. There's this kid in the circle over there breaking. And I was like, so? And they're like, why don't you go battle him? And I was like, all right. And then I went over there to the circle. Like, at the time, like, I wasn't really like practicing. I was more into basketball at the time. So like, I just went over there, and then, you know, going to dances, you just like want to show off and stuff. And then I went into the circle, and I saw this kid, and then it was my friend from like elementary school. And then I was like, what the heck? And then he started breaking, and then I went out, did like windmills or something to headspin. And then everyone like flipped out, and then like, I think we went in like 2 more rounds, and then that was it. And then everyone was like, dude, that was sick, man. And then I was like, all right. Like, I wasn't even that into breaking. Like, I just did it because Jardy was the one. Shout out to my brother Jardy.
Right.
He's the one that actually got me into breaking when we were kids, and him and his friends were breaking. And he was like, hey, why don't you try to do this? And I was like, all right. And, you know, being a little brother, like, just wanting to like follow in my older brother's footsteps and stuff, or just like follow him everywhere. And he just showed me like, oh, could you try to do this? And we, at the time, we didn't have anything. It was like 95 or something like that. Like, we didn't have footage of like anyone breaking except for like Beat Street and Freakin', you know?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he would just tell me like, why don't you try to do this? And then that's how I learned.
But at that time, did he break? Was he a B-boy back then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's history that I got to get him to share too.
Yeah. What's cool is when we were younger, like, he would videotape us doing like almost like tutorials. Like, we were like just showing moves off. Like, he would like, I don't know how he did it, but he would like do something like put like the words on the screen. Like, he wrote it on like a piece of paper, and then he would put it on the screen. and then it would like
What?
kind of like fade out. It was weird. I
Yeah.
don't even know how he learned that, but he ended up doing that. He would put like windmills or something, or like crab walks, and then and then
What?
it would be us like doing the moves, and then it was crazy, man. And we don't have that footage anymore,
Oh,
and we're like beating ourselves up about it, like, damn,
right.
where's that footage? Because it's
Right.
been so long, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's dope, man. So that's how Headhunter got started, and that's how, Jardy encouraged you to do it. Now
Hmm.
tell me about Renegade Rockers. How did you get involved?
Yeah. So this is like 2006. I was actually getting out of Headhunters Crew, and then I was kind of like just doing my solo thing, and then Wicket actually hit me up to compete at a competition at a 2-on-2,
Mm-hmm.
and then in San Francisco, and it was actually at South Space too. And
Okay.
he was like, "Yo, there's a jam this weekend. You want to compete in it?" And then I was like tripping out, like, "Oh shoot! Like Wicked is that asking me to enter a 2-on-2 with them? Like what the hell?
Right.
That's
Right.
crazy." And this is like fresh off like being like trying to just focus on just like being solo, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then like here he comes, he's like, "Yo, let's enter this 2-on-2," and then I'm like, I can't turn that down. I'm like, all right,
Right.
let's do it. And then after we actually won that battle, and then after the jam, he goes, um, "Hey, we're actually looking for new members, man. Like, if you wanna check it out, like meet everybody,
Yeah.
the invitation is open." And then I was like, I was like focusing on my solo thing, but uh, I'll hit you up. And then yeah, and then next thing you know, like I'm like driving up to San Francisco like every weekend or something like that to come practice with the guys.
Yeah.
And then I think they asked me if I wanted to compete with them at Battle of the Year,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was in LA. And then so going up to San Francisco was like, I was like, all right, we got to train and da da da. And we were at one of the practices. At the end of practice, I think politics was like, yo, so we're all just sitting there after, like dead tired, and then he
Yeah.
goes, yo, so we're thinking about having Naytron down for with Renegades, and then everyone's like, yeah, man, and like Kid David was actually the first one to go. I'm down. Like I'm down if everyone else is down, and then
Yeah.
everyone else was like, "Yo, I'm down, I'm down, I'm down." And then next thing you know, I was like in the crew. I was like,
That's
"Oh
dope.
shoot, this is crazy." I was like, I was tripping out, man. But yeah, that's how I got in the crew. I didn't get battled in or anything like that.
Man, that's dope because for those that don't know Renegade Rockers, I don't know. Can you share the history of it? Because they existed before Headhunters, right? So you probably heard of
Yeah,
them before, and
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
So the first time I saw Renegades was on Radiotron, going against Style Elements.
Right.
And so that I had that tape, like early, I think when I was like a freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I first saw that battle, and like I didn't see it like before that, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, yo, who are these guys? And then
Yeah.
like found out they're from San Francisco, and I was like,
Yeah.
dude, that's crazy. They're
Yeah.
so dope, and but I remember that was like one of the obviously one of the main videos I saw them, but I would hear like of them from like jams at Hank Lopez in San Jose.
Yeah.
So like Jazzy J, and you know what I mean, like hearing all their names, like
Yeah.
I would see them on footage, but I would be like, who is that? And like
Yeah.
then people would like kind of just like throw names out, like, oh shoot, like what the heck, that's so and so. And then that's how I heard about them, and I was
Yeah.
like, so like fast forward to like like getting down with Renegades, I was like, shoot, this like crew has so much history, man. Like,
Right. Yeah.
it's
So
crazy.
like when that day when they're like, yo, you're in. I mean, what was your mind like, and what was your heart like? It
It
must
was,
have been like, holy shit.
yeah, I was tripping out. Like, just knowing like about like all the people that's been in the crew. I was floored, like, and honored, obviously. But I
Yeah.
was just going, like, my mind was just like going to like every single like thought in my mind was like crazy.
Right.
It's like, oh
Right.
shoot, because just Wicked. Like, I'm a huge fan of Wicked. Like, even before like I started like knowing them.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing him at like for the first time in like a cipher was like the craziest thing for me.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, who is this Mexican dude, but he's Filipino?
Yeah.
I was like, who's this Mexican dude? He's so sick. And then like I find out later he's Filipino, and that even like made me even more hype about like being down with the crew.
Right. Yeah. That's dope, man. So,
Yeah.
I want to kind of take us back too, because I remember we both taught at Google.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk about that. How did what was your mindset like, when Google asked you to teach there, and then, of course, teaching Googlers is a lot
Mhm.
different than, getting down with the Renegades or even with HeadHunters.
Yeah.
So maybe talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that.
So what's funny is I actually got the job from Miles Milestone. He used to teach there. So we were in Taiwan, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna be moving out to LA soon." And I was like, "Oh, how come?" He's like, just job opportunities." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he's like, "So I was wondering, like, do you want to teach at Google?" And I was like, "Teach at Google? Like when?" And then he was like, we'll find out like the schedule when you go there." And then I was like, all right, cool. And I thought he was like messing around, but he like when we got back to the Bay, he was like, all right, so when are you available so I could like walk you through everything, and then you'll meet my boss and everything like that, and then go from there. And I was like, oh, okay. And it just went like that real quick. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I ended up like, I think it was that same day they're just like, all right, we'll send you like everything you need to sign and everything like that. And
Yeah.
that's how I got into Google. And then like I think I started maybe 2-3 weeks after that. Like Miles he hasn't moved yet, so like I think the first couple classes I just kind of shadowed him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, all right, cool, I could do this.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then I ended up teaching, and then he moved to LA, and I was
Yeah.
like,
So
yo, this
what
is
was
the
what was your
trip.
thought like the first time you went there? You shadow him, like you're seeing all these engineers and Googlers there. Like what
Yeah,
was going on in your head at that time?
man, I was like, there's a breaking class at Google. You know what I mean? And like people actually come and take it. Like
Right.
I was like floored, man. Like the amount of people that would just come to the class uh, at random
Yeah.
was just like crazy. Because like every week you would probably get like 3-4 different new students,
Uh-huh.
and you're like, oh, like words like going around the whole campus now. Like just so every week, like I would have like new students, and I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, and they were actually like super eager to learn too. So that made it a lot easier for me, because it's not like I have to be like, hey, I'm teaching here, like come to my class. So
Right.
people just that worked there just started coming through, and then that made it super easy, because like having to, I guess, advertise class is hard. So
Yeah.
yeah, so everyone at the campus would see it on the I guess the schedule that I've never seen before. But they're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's on the schedule. I'm like, I don't even know what schedule you're talking about. But yeah, so it was dope. It was dope.
Yeah, that was really dope when Miles told me that you were taking it over. So I was like, oh man, that's dope. That's dope, man. But okay,
Yeah.
let's move forward to a different topic because I was really proud and to see that you have your own. I think it's your own business, right? Your videographer business
Mhm.
when you were shooting
Yeah.
weddings and things like that. Tell me how you got
Mhm.
into that, bro.
Man, so this year is actually our 10th year anniversary for Encompass Cinema, and
Mm,
so 10 years ago, like before we shot our first like wedding,
yeah.
um, I was so let me backtrack to 2007 when I graduated in nursing school.
Okay.
So I graduated in nursing school. After that, I tried taking like my boards. Like I think I tried taking it like 4 times. Like within from 2007 to 2009,
Uh
and
huh.
then I think 2009. That's when I met my wife, and we actually were already expecting our daughter Naya. She's 10 now,
Mm-hmm.
and so around that time when she was pregnant, um, I got my test results for my boards, and I didn't pass, so I didn't get my nursing license. So I was like,
Uh
damn,
huh.
what am I gonna do? I
Ah.
literally was sitting there on my couch, like looking at my exam, like,
Yeah.
damn, like what am
Yeah.
I gonna do for for
Uh huh.
money, for work?
Right.
Like there's a baby coming, and so
Yeah.
all that was going through my mind. And then at the time, I was like messing around with filming, just filming like random things, like putting
Mm-hmm.
stuff together. And then Nicole, which is my wife, she was like, "Why don't you film like weddings or something?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, I guess I could try. And I was like, because I think she got the idea because I filmed my cousin's wedding in Hawaii,
Ah,
like
okay.
around 2005 or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I just filmed it with a camcorder, just like, and edited like this whole video for them. And they were like tripping out about it, and I was like, I mean, it's whatever,
Yeah.
like I just
Yeah.
kind of treated it as like something that I just did on the side, And so Nicole got that idea, and she was like threw it out there, and I was like, yeah, I guess I could try. And then coincidentally, that same year, um, my cousin that I filmed in Hawaii, their cousin was getting married, and they're like, oh, they need a videographer. Could you shoot it? And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I could. I'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. And then I borrowed like two cameras from like friends, and then so I had like this setup, and then I was like, all right, we're gonna go film this wedding. We didn't even meet the couple. Like, I just went over there and then shot the wedding. And then at the wedding, I was like editing their highlight reel at the same time. And then I was like, all right, cool. And then after that, I was like, after I put out the video, I was like, dude, like that was hella fun. Like I wanna keep shooting more weddings.
Dude,
And
that's
then
dope.
yeah, and then that's where it started, and then now we're 10 years deep, and
So in a
obviously,
sense, it was actually a good thing that you failed that test.
yeah, 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 because some of my friends that are nurses now that I went to school with, I'm always like, how's work, and they're like,
Right. Right.
you know, I
Yeah.
don't want to talk about it.
Right. Right. Well,
Yeah, so
yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm glad that you failed that test then, huh?
yeah, yeah, me too.
Man, that's so cool. That's so cool. And when you mentioned that you're taking nursing school, you immediately reminded me of two things. The first
Yeah.
thing is Joe Coy's his jokes, right?
Yeah.
About Filipinos being nurses and want to be dancers. So it's like immediately
Yeah.
came up. And also the second thing is our boy Bionic, right? He was also
Yep.
into nursing
Yeah.
too. So many Filipino dancers are nursing. So when Joe Coy told
Yeah.
that joke, it's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
dead on.
Yeah. It's so funny that I know I always laugh at that too, because he obviously mentions like us wanting to dance like Jabberwockies too, you know.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy, dude. And actually,
Yeah,
2 days ago when I interviewed Randy, I don't know if you heard that one, but
yeah.
Randy said, um, was it? I think Remine's roommate. I think it was Joe Coy.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
that,
They
I
were
was like,
living with
oh,
each
it's a
other.
trip. Everything's connected.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. That always trips me out because I listen to Joe Coy's podcast, and he always name drops like Remind and Crumbs and
Hmm.
Cross. So it's dope to just hear that, like, you know, from like obviously a well-known comedian.
Yep. Yep. For sure, dude. All right. Hey, I want to move to a different topic, which is something that you're doing right now, which is jujitsu. Tell me
Yeah.
about when you got into that, because I see your Instagram, your Facebook. You got trophies. You're winning stuff, bro. What's going on, man? Tell me about that.
So I started jujitsu
Oh, hey, real
in
quick, we got a shout out from Christy.
hey, that's my cousin. What's up? Yeah, so I started jujitsu in San Jose. We actually were thinking of having like our kids do something,
Yeah.
and then so before I started, I had like Naya and Xavier doing jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like both going to jujitsu, and then I would just bring them there, and I'd just sit there watching them,
Yeah.
and like I'd be like man, that looks hella fun. And I had like Courage and DJ Quantum. They're both like Koi's purple belt, and
Mm.
Courage is a brown belt.
Mm.
And they were already bugging me years ago to train,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, and then like, and at the time they were asking me, like I was busy too, so it wouldn't have worked. And then when I started bringing them to my kids to jujitsu, I just like watch them, and then I had a couple friends going there, and they're like, just train. You already bring your kids here, and then I was like, all right, I'll start doing it. And then I was getting tired of running. So running was my thing to lose weight and just
Uh-huh.
stay fit. And then that I hit a wall, and I was like, all right, I'm not losing weight running anymore, and I'm getting kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
So jujitsu came into picture, and then I started training, and I was like, dude, this is hella fun.
Yeah.
Started losing weight again, and
Yeah.
then from that point on, I was like super hooked. And then yeah, so after that, I just started training harder, and I was training every day actually.
Mm.
And then competed. I went to my first competition, and then I ended up winning as a white belt. And then then I moved out here to San Diego, and then I found a new spot to train at, and
Mm-hmm.
then got my blue belt there last November.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so now I'm a blue belt. Just I haven't trained since the whole pandemic, so I'm missing it like crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's so sick, man.
Yeah.
There's so many. I could immediately think of two, really top guys. Sugar Pop and
Yeah.
yeah, he's way up there with the jujitsu and
Yeah.
Flow, right? Flow Master too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it to me, it's almost like, yeah, almost hand in hand. As a dancer,
Hmm.
you have to memorize sequence of movements and train your body to kind of flow with it. And it's just like jujitsu in a sense, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And it the translation from breaking to jujitsu is like so it's so similar because the movements are like a lot a lot of it is the same, and like just kind of like mixing it both is like makes it like crazy because a lot of people that go get into jujitsu like they don't know how their body moves,
Yeah.
but like being like a dancer, a b-boy, like being upside down is like normal for us, you know. And then
Mm.
kind of going into jiu-jitsu was like why didn't I do this before, you know? So yeah, so dope.
Yeah, definitely makes perfect sense. Hey, real quick, I want a quick shout out to Fred, original video rat. Thanks for dropping in, brother. I wanna switch to uh, a question. Okay, a topic. I was asked about this from some dancers in the Philippines. So shout out to Philippine dancers. They're asking this, and this is something that I think you're more than qualified to answer, because in a battle, let's say in a battle, and they're actually popping battle, but it doesn't matter if it's popping or break-in or whatever battle, you always have judges, and you're always going to have winners and losers, right? So I think ideally in this kind of situation, an ideal situation is that after everything's over, the judges get to talk to people, the judges get to give feedbacks, and usually I think a good, whether you win or lose, you always try to get feedback. And if you communicate well with the judges, you get the feedback. And sometimes, most of the time, if you lose, you probably have this salty feeling, right? Like, hey, why did I lose, right? And the judge will probably and usually the judges will honestly try to give them their feeling, their feedback. And sometimes the feedback is not received well, right? Maybe miscommunication and how they deliver the message, and that leads into frustration, right? So some of these dancers message me, hey, I'm confused, I don't know why they said this, but which doesn't make sense and stuff like that. So picking your brain, because you've been on both sides, you've entered battles, you also judge battles, okay? So your advice, your tips, let's start with for the dancers, for the competitors. What are your tips for them, whether they won or they lost, and when they get feedback from a judge that they're not quite sure what they mean? Like sometimes it's confusing, right? So if you ever been in a battle where the judges give you a feedback and you're like, I'm not sure that makes sense, what do you do, or what should you do now that you are who you are? What kind of advice would you give them?
Man, I've got it's funny because I always got whenever I would judge, like people would like ask me like, oh, what should I do next time? Like, like it really just like how they present themselves and executing their moves and dancing to the music, And a lot of people, like especially now, like it's so like dancing is so heavy in competitions, that people will look at like how like what they need to do, like I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. But sometimes like that comes off a little weird, because when you're watching someone compete and they're doing this and this, you could see that it's like planned, it's like thought out,
Pre-choreographed.
Like instead of just kind of like being present and doing your thing, like how you would normally do it if you're to say like get down in a circle, or if you're practicing really seriously, like so like I always tell them like, man, like this actually, what's funny is I just judged a competition from like if there's a battle in the Philippines, and I just judged it a couple weeks ago. One of the guys that I chose to win ended up losing. I was the only one that voted from, and then the other two judges voted for the other B-boy. And he messaged me after, and he was like, what should I do? Like he asked the same thing, what should I do? And I remember like watching his battle, and I was like, dude, you like killed it. Like I don't even know like what you want me to tell you. Like you did your thing. Like you like killed it. You did your thing. You were dancing to the music, and I chose you because I thought you won. And then he was confused, because he was like, what? Like Like, but what should I do? And I'm like, what? I'm like, I go on his Instagram and I'm like, dude, you're like, all your clips are like dope. Like you're already doing your thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
it really, it, because then it's so subjective that like you have like three, maybe five judges, and
Right.
they're all gonna say different things
Right.
and see different things. So it's so hard to like give someone like advice on what to do for their next battle, but
Mm-hmm.
it's every judge is gonna judge different, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the hard part, because
Right.
you could only say so much, like just you could execute more or you could be more original. Like it's so saying that stuff is like, oh, then they're not gonna be breaking like themselves or dancing like themselves anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's so hard to kind of give that advice to people that want it, but I really just tell them like, dude, just keep being yourself and like like change this and that, but other than that, like just keep representing yourself. You don't want to break like or dance like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to you don't want to cater, I guess, like in a competition to just like the judges, like
Okay.
you're also out there breaking or dancing for yourself,
Okay.
you know
That's
but
great.
yeah, that
Now,
yeah.
now let's flip it now, right? So now,
Mhm.
as a judge as well, right? You know sometimes the frustration about giving advice, and maybe the competitor, the dancer, really don't quite understand what you're trying to say, right?
Mhm.
Because here's a perfect example. We just said, hey, dance and be yourself, right? Be yourself.
Yeah.
Now that could be that's to me that's more of an advice for, I want to say, intermediate to advanced dancers, because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
already established their foundation, right? They already know some
Yeah. Yeah.
foundation moves, and they're able to you know uh, do those fundamental things. But if you're a total beginner and you're like, hey, Naytron just said be myself, so I'm just gonna go and be myself. But if you're
Yeah.
being yourself and you're not if you can't dance, you can't take that advice and say, hey,
Yeah.
now you're
That's true.
confusing me because you said to be myself, but I'm being myself. You said I'm no good. So this is where we're like, okay, uh, you know, you got to be careful, as to who you give advice to, because total beginner, you wouldn't just be like, hey, yeah, feel free to do whatever you want, because then it's
Yeah.
like you're not even dancing.
That's true.
What
Yeah.
advice do you have for judges now when they give
Mhm.
advice? How do they try to clarify things, and to decrease, eliminate, or I don't know if you could
Yeah.
eliminate, but decrease the confusion?
Yeah. So this is uh this is hard too sometimes, like when people competitors do this, because then say I'm judging, and three or four battles down the line,
Hey,
someone
real
goes,
quick, shout out to Blue Boy.
hey, what's up, Blue? Yeah. Yeah. So like say I'm judging, and then three or four battles down the line, somewhat a competitor comes up to me and goes, hey, how come I lost that battle? Like
Yeah.
I have to like backtrack three or four battles, you know, like in that happened like 30, 45 minutes ago, to break down what happened in their battle. And that's usually hard, because then now I have to like go to my notes, and then I have to, like sometimes like I won't write down everything about like the battle,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll write down certain things, like maybe they should have been more more what do you call it? Maybe they could have executed more.
Yeah.
And that's usually like for beginners, um that's usually like the hard part, executing, like not crashing, and just kind of yeah, like to a beginner I wouldn't be like, yo, be yourself. Like
Right.
I'd really break it down for them and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to dance more. You got to, you know, show that you have everything. You got to hit your freezes, like be on beat, and Yeah, so like there would be like a list of things for like a beginner to do.
Right.
But being as a judge, like I would tell the judges, like just be upfront with the person that's asking you, because like they want to get better, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
like, yeah, so usually when people come up to me and ask me like, how come I lost that battle, I'll I'll tell them like, let me, if if I don't remember the battle, like I have to watch the footage again,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
and then I'll tell them then, because then I don't want to be like, I don't want to just say something and then rewatch the battle later and be like, oh crap, he already
Right.
did that, you know.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that they're getting all the information that I saw, and then that way there's no confusion there and they actually get better.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. Hey, we just got someone. I think it's Romachu. What's up, Romachu? He asked a quick question. He says, "Just curious, how does the dance judging work? Is there some sort of a semi-official list of things that give points, like boxing and gymnastics, or is this more subjective?" Bro, you want to take this one?
I think it depends on the battle. Like, or like, say, because there's some jams that I'll say, oh, judge, can you judge it with like numbers like boxing, like 10-9, or could you, um, I guess, like the point system is always weird. So it's like there's so many different layers, especially in dance, that you have to account for. So it ends up being subjective, you know, regardless of like point systems, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're watching, and there could be two people that are doing two different styles, and that's where it gets really hard, because then now you have to
Right.
break down both of their styles and what they did in the battle. Like, is this would you consider this better than that? And just so many different things that you have to account for, and then just kind of like matching the two styles is hard, but you have to come out with an answer. And some people are gonna hate it, and some people are gonna be like, oh yeah, yeah, that's cool, you
Right.
know. So
Right. Yeah. If I were to jump in here real quick,
yeah.
this is a okay. If everybody kind of step back a little bit and think about the whole culture, right? The people that are throwing this event, they're throwing this event because they love it. They want to see more people get together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're we call them promoters. Okay, the promoters will say, okay, how do we promote this thing? And now we need a judge. We need few judges to try to make this
Yeah.
fair. So the judges, they'll probably call people that are kind of well known in the industry, that's been around for quite some time. Okay, so obviously Naytron's been there for a while. So when he got asked, he was like, sure, he wants to promote. He was going to help promote. So now some of these promoters may or may not have criteria, right? Some of it is just up to you. Hey, you're the judge. You've been around for so long. It's up to you. It's very subjective. It's what the judges at that time will say, I think this is good, and I think this is better. Okay. There's no rule. We don't have a freaking university that goes and say, okay, to be a judge, you have to pass these tests. You have to do this. There's none. Okay. We're, as dancers ourselves, we have experience. We know what's hard to do, what takes more skills, and and it's using that experience to judge. So when you put in and sometimes, and this is what happens if you lost. There's an innate feeling that, hey, why did I lose? I train hard. I train just as hard as the other guy, probably.
Yep.
It's unfair. I lost. Whatever. My friends thinks I won. Like your friends are subjective. Obviously, they're gonna try to gas you up and tell you, yeah, you should have won. Da da da. And don't believe all that stuff. Like if you believe that, hey, this judge, is trying to be fair, unless maybe the judge is related to the other person or whatever, then you might have a claim as to why you lost. But if the judge is, from a different country, and he's here trying to, use his own experience to judge, I think as a dancer, as a competitor, humble yourself and say, how can I get better, right? And usually, in any case, it's not just dance. Usually when you lose, you learn the most. Okay, so in a sense, I'd rather lose and find out how I can improve. Because if I win, the judge is going to be, hey, you did great. That doesn't fucking help me to get any better.
Yep.
If they say, hey, I'd like to see you do more down here, move up here, travel more, make your move bigger, make your move smaller, whatever those critiques that judge has to give me, I would appreciate that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of like my intake on that. Now,
Yeah.
again, when we get to the business side of things, it's a little bit different, right? Because some people, their lifestyle depends on it. You maybe they need to depend on the winnings of dancing. Now, on that note, I would say you're in the wrong business because
Yeah.
there's really no money in dancing, right? If you think you're gonna
Mm.
make a killing as a dancer, you are dead wrong. Just go ask the Electric Boogaloo's. Just go ask,
Mm.
these top pioneers. They do it for the love of it, for the dance of it. Okay, so
Yep.
so anyways, that's my little
Yeah.
rant on it.
No, that was
Uh,
good.
now, okay, here's one thing. I think this is a little bit controversial, and I want to get your take on it. And everybody else that's listening, feel free to jump in. Okay, I just heard this recently. I'm not going to name names, but here's an idea. The idea is that if you are not black, you should not be teaching hip hop. That's the idea. That's the statement. The statement is, if you're not black, so basically they're saying only if you're black, then you can teach hip hop. I'm going to turn it over to you, Naytron. What do you think about that? What's your opinion?
I think it's wrong, just because we're how many years down the line of different cultures getting into the hip hop scene, and there's people that that aren't black that that has studied the hip hop culture, and if you've been living in the hip hop culture, then you have as much say as that next person, So I think I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but I think it's wrong. Just just because there's a lot of people that can I guess teach it as well as that person that's saying that. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I think to really get into that, when I first heard it, right, my first initial
Mm.
response is just like you. I think it's wrong. Okay, I'm not
Yeah.
saying I think it's right. I'm just saying I think it's wrong. But now I want
Mm.
to dig a little bit deeper, which is, okay,
Yeah.
what does this person mean by black, right?
Mm.
Typically, when you say black, you probably think of black African Americans. Okay,
Mm.
but then let's dig a little bit deeper than that, right?
Yeah.
Black African American. Does that mean both your parents have to be descendants of
All right.
slaves?
Right.
Is that right? Because sometimes right now you got mixed races. Look at Obama, right? He's mixed. A
Mm.
lot of people say he's black. A lot of people say he's black,
Mm.
but he's half. So some people may not say he is half. Same with
Mm.
Tiger Woods. There's a lot of mixed races now. So who is
Yeah.
considered black? Now, if I grew up black, what if I was adopted? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything about me is black African American, because if I was raised by them,
Mm-hmm.
what's the difference, right? Is it really
Yeah.
the DNA that really matters? Because that is really dumb then, right? If you say,
Yep.
oh, hey, we got to take a look at your DNA, and then
Mhm.
your DNA qualifies you to teach,
Yeah.
isn't that dumb? I think it
Yeah.
is. And I want to bring it out, I want to bring it out to all our audience who are listening right now. Some of
Mhm.
you are probably instructors. Some of you are probably just getting into this. Okay, I want to challenge everybody to really think for themselves, right, for that statement, because I think there's probably frustration in that statement. Whoever made that statement is probably frustrated with whatever's going on. Something didn't
Mhm.
go this person's way, and they're
Right.
like saying, hey, only black should be teaching hip
Mhm.
hop. And I still disagree with it, but I'm open to different ideas, right?
Yeah.
To that. And also, another thing is this: what is hip hop? Because if you do your research, most of the people would agree, most of the pioneers, okay, would agree that hip
Mhm.
hop started in East Coast, which is the first form of dancers. b-boying.
Mm-hmm.
So are they saying you shouldn't be teaching b-boying, or are they talking
Right.
about now this umbrella term that everybody is put it into, all the street styles that are shoved under the hip hop
Right.
umbrella term? So that statement is too broad for me to really get into. But in any case, in either case, none of my predecessors, my teachers, right? I don't know about yours. I'm pretty sure none of your teachers would say such a thing. Let's take a look at Ken Swift. He's not African American black. Mr. Wiggles is not. Poppin' Taco, the Booyah Tribes, all these guys who would come before me and who has such an impact in this culture.
Yep.
They don't have that DNA. Is this person saying that they should not be teaching hip hop? If they're saying that, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally think it's silly to say that, because like everyone that you named has literally been there since the beginning, like, or early on, so they have as much say as anyone that was around when it started too. So I think it's really silly that was brought up. Just I don't know. It's comedy to me.
I think so too. I think so too. When I first heard about it, I kind of laughed it off, and I think I heard about it a week ago, and I kind of displaced it off, and then it was brought to me again, and I thought, it's an attack, actually, right?
Yeah.
It's an attack on anybody, because the statement was said, if you are not black, you should sit down. I think it was the quote. You should sit down, step away from teaching. So that statement really struck me, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, who is this kid? Who is this person, right? I mean, even if this person is from the original pioneers, it really doesn't make any sense, because if you talk to any of the pioneers, they would say, hey, spread this dance that I love, right? Help me spread this, because this is not like a patent. It's not an Apple patent that says, oh, if you can't create an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
You can't be like, hey, the next time somebody does a wrist twirl, you got to pay Don Campbell $5 for doing a wrist twirl. Next time a person does a head spin, you got to pay Rocksteady. It doesn't this is a dance that you want to spread. It's not a patent. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoever this person think he is, I think he's hurt, or she's hurt, maybe financially. I don't know what it is, but a blanket statement like that, to put it out there, is totally ludicrous.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's reaching, I think, and just reaching for that attention. Like, like, how come I'm not getting this? How come that person is getting that? And that's whoever said that should probably work on themselves and find themselves and be like, oh, I was wrong, because that's crazy to me to hear that.
I completely agree. I kind of want to share that. I mean, I pretty much knew that you're going to say that, and I think pretty much any sane person is probably going to say that, but I do want to kind of arm new dancers to that idea, because that idea to me, it's almost like a virus. It could spread, right? It could spread, because if you're in a situation, you kind of got hurt by it. It's really easy, and it's a divisive idea, though. Just like a certain president that we have that try to divide the country, right? It's the same idea. If you put out an idea that's kind of false, but it strikes people's nerves, people will follow that and start blaming other people, blaming other races for their own failures.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, man. I kind of got into that, man.
No, that was good, because I didn't hear about that until right now. So
okay, yeah. Don't be surprised if that thing start creeping up. You hear from this person. You're like, what? This thing's coming out. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back a little bit. What I want to do is I want to show everybody uh here. This is your Instagram.
Yep. Yep.
Is this a good way for people to get a hold of you if they need to, whether they want to maybe, I don't know, are you open for private lessons?
Yeah. I've been getting that like from people from time to time. Just because there's some people that don't want to be in like class, or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, so I teach on Zoom, and I teach, and now I'm doing like tutorials on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So like, um, yeah, there's just people that don't want to be in like a class setting. They want to be private about it,
Right.
and you know, practice on their own, and that's fine with me. But yeah, if there's people out there that want to like be in a class, Zoom is always fun, and if you don't, like, there's YouTube, and if you hit me up, we could do privates. That's cool too.
Great, great. So right here, if you want to hit up Naytron privately, Instagram is right here. Naytron right here. If you guys can see my mouse moving, that's his Instagram. Or actually, we wrote it down here. I wrote it down here. Naytron here, and also YouTube, right?
Yeah.
YouTube.com/Naytron. So I did check it out. Let me see if I could pull it up for everybody as well. But yeah, bro, I think you, to me, bro, is definitely one of the dopest b-boy out there still to this
Dude.
day, and so freaking humble, dude. I mean, just by listening to you, the way you talk, super chill. So you're actually down in Southern California right now, San Diego.
Yep. Yep.
And so yeah, if anybody out there local to San Diego, if you want to hit up Naytron, you guys already know how chill and how cool he is.
Yeah.
So hit him up. He's open for that.
Yep. Out
Bro.
here in cloudy San Diego.
Cloudy today, but usually you guys are freaking sunny, dude. Hey, I kind of want to wrap it up
earlier
with one. I guess maybe talk about a funny story, a funny dance moment that you have through through your dance history. Can you think of something funny or embarrassing that may have happened to you throughout your career?
I'm trying to think. Well, there's some. Let me see. I have to really dig now. What's happened in my dance career? Man, it's hard to really pinpoint something.
Was there a performance that, like, I don't know?
I think like doing like the performances with Soul Sector was funny just because you had Bionic there, and Bionic, he messes around a lot. You have Mikey Disco and then Jardy, and they're all just like silly dudes, and I think just being nothing embarrassing, but just like being like in a performance, just like being like on the side, you're waiting to go in, and you're just talking to each other as if it's like a normal conversation, but I'm about to go in before going in there, and we're just messing around on the side, like like just having fun and stuff. And I think there's nothing embarrassing, but just like funny moments like that is like yo, we're messing around back here, but then in a second we're about to be really serious and kill it,
right?
So like that's just comedic to me, like to switch from like just like a joking mood to like, all right, let's go kill it now. Like that's just funny to me.
Man, that's dope. And how when was that? Do you remember?
Whenever we did like hip hop dance fest.
Okay.
Like, with Soul Sector and stuff, was just it's just funny to be there on stage with them, because I lived with Bionic. It was obviously me, Jardy, Bionic, and then even Farside was there, and then so just being in the house with those guys is just, you just see Bionic popping in the kitchen about to cook eggs or something like that. So like, just it's just funny to like think about all that stuff, just like before practicing or like before
Yeah. That's dope, man. Thanks for sharing that, brother. I mean, you know, we've been chatting for quite some time right now, and I know we could go on for hours. I just want to thank you for you know, sharing your time and sharing your history. Um, any last words,
man.
brother, before I let you go?
Man, I just want to say thank you, like, for this opportunity. Like, it's dope to, and it's dope to talk to you because we haven't talked in a while.
Right,
Um,
right. And actually, before we go, I want you to. Do you remember when we kicked it down to San Diego?
yeah, yeah, I hella remember that. That's funny, dude. I know the area that we were hanging out at, and like I've like it's not even that far from me, and like I remember going to that Mexican spot after. I remember going to that party. We were eating the nachos. Dude, that's funny that you mentioned that.
Yeah, yeah, it was dope. It was dope. It's always, you know, always good seeing you. Always good chatting with you, brother. I'm sure, you know, if you have time, I'd like to bring you back again so we could talk more.
Yeah,
You know, about future dancers, about what we think about the scenes and stuff like that. So, yeah, yeah.
that'd be sick. Yeah,
Ooh,
hell yeah, let's
Shabugi,
do it
what's
again,
up?
man.
What's up? That's homegirl right
Hey,
there.
Sharon,
J
what's
Mix,
going
thank you,
on?
thank you. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
All right, my brother. Thank you
thank
again.
you.
Until next time, everybody, let's make it funky.
All right, guys. Peace.
We out.